Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm with a production duo that is most notably, in my opinion, worked with one of my favorite artists and previous podcast guests, Azizi Gibson. And today we're going to be covering how they traverse through the music industry and the connections they've made and the placements they've made as well. It's my pleasure to introduce JG and Galen of Holy Beats.
Hey,
how's it going?
Hell yeah.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course. I'm a fan of your guys' work, so I'm excited that you guys came on the podcast.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate the love.
Thank you.
So how long have you guys been a production duo?
For a production duo, I think we first started producing together in about, I think 2015 or so, maybe 2014. But JG and I have known each other since 6th grade. So I think, it's at this point about 20 years. I think we were probably like around 10 when we first met, maybe some age around there. And then, we have always been friends, and then we kind of had started doing music separately, in our late teens and whatnot. And then we kind of reconnected in around 2014 and started trying to do stuff together, and just kind of one thing led to another. We realized we like working with each other and it was easy to do, and so since then we've been Holy Beats.
And you guys have always been in LA, or have you guys moved around at all?
No, always been in LA, born and raised, never lived anywhere else. Definitely have traveled, but I don't think I would personally ever live anywhere else, especially at this point with the music industry being here kind of locked in, if you know what I mean.
Isn't that kind of rare, though, for people to be born and raised in LA?
Yeah, especially in the music industry. Totally agree. We run into we have like a pretty close group of friends that are actually all in that same situation, all from here. But besides that, most everyone we work with has, moved here from somewhere else to pursue their dreams. So.
And did you guys each have like credits by your own before you guys met up to become a duo, or did you guys not really get attention until you guys were a duo?
I wouldn't say, but not necessarily before. Maybe like a little bit here and there, but we do have things separately now.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of started this as a duo. Like we really started trying to get placements as a duo, and then stuff started coming. Where someone like maybe needed something that he could do or something that I can do, and then we now have separate placements as well. But we definitely started trying to do this together on a more serious level.
Mm. And like, were you guys always focused on production, or like were one of you guys fucking like a rapper or singer, or are you guys?
No, I songwrite. I love songwriting. I get on the mic all the time, but I'm not ever looking to release that. I love to hear my ideas like portrayed by an artist, and I don't want to speak for him as well, but being behind the scenes is definitely the role that I would like to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I would say like the core of what we do is for sure production, but we will do the songwriting as well. When either we have an idea or whatnot, and we can just put down a demo, and you never know what it can be used for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we definitely both like being behind the scenes. I don't think really either of us have artist aspirations.
No.
So
those times have passed. No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
So it's probably harder for a producer to get like attention than a artist, spotlight wise, at least, right?
Oh yeah. It's really about just once you get into the industry, of course, like we really started this and we're like, okay, let's try to make as cool and good of beats as we can. And then you get in the industry and you realize that's like the very smallest part of it. It's really like all about making connections and, getting in with certain people and, just continuing to grow those connections and expand more off that, because without that as a producer, like you said, it's like hard to even get your name out there. Like someone like you who's a big fan of Azizi was like, immediately knows Holy Beats because we closely collaborated with him for a long time, but that's not going to be everybody. So working with other producers and other people and other artists that have been able to get our name out there further, that's really what helps the most.
Yeah, you guys have some like crazy placements. Like, weren't you on like Euphoria, one of your songs or something like that?
Oh yeah, I had a placement on Euphoria, a song that I did with a friend of mine. He's a producer, Hurt Boy AG, and then another guy, Foster, who's another producer. We did a song for an artist called Lil Dude that ended up on episode 1 of Euphoria. That was pretty cool. But as Holy Beats, yeah, we've done some cool stuff. We ended up doing one with a Latin artist named Nathaniel Cano, and Snoop Dogg actually hopped on it with a couple of other artists. So that was pretty cool.
Definitely.
Damn. So how do you guys go about making connections? Like, is it just like sending beat tapes and packs to people, or are you guys going into like different buildings?
I apologize. I just want to make sure that I like correctly say this. That Latin song with Snoop Dogg was with one of our close producer friends, Sweet Sound, who actually set up the whole thing, and we're very grateful for it. I just want to make sure to always include everybody.
Shout out Sweet Sound.
But a lot of, I mean, things come about in different ways. Some things have just been, kind of cold emails, finding people's emails and sending them a pack of beats and DMing them or something. And then, connections are for sure the most important part of the music industry. Personal connections with artists, obviously, other producers that might be connected to an artist outside of your network, engineers, people at a label, A&Rs,
managers, anybody, yeah. Honestly, anybody who's down to connect and has a relationship with someone who we don't, we're going for it. At least trying it, At least we're gonna, no matter what. If someone sets something up, session, meeting, I'm gonna go at this point, try it out, and see how it goes. So that's really that's probably the best way to expand out here, at least that we've found so far.
That makes sense, because I feel like even as like a media guy, I feel like I'm kind of in the background too, and I feel like because I understand what it means to be in the background, you understand how important those background connections are. Like, I don't think people realize, but like half the time an artist is on tour, at least the touring manager or their manager is at that concert with them. So like I've gone to tons of concerts and be like, I'd love to interview your artist, because the fucking tour is like just in the back, I mean, the manager's in the back. Right. So I think it's important to, and then like, interviewing a manager, that'll give me a connection. Like I've had managers on the podcast, and then that gives me a connection to someone if they know another manager that knows another artist or something like that. So it's all about making that web. I feel like a lot of people feel like making that web means connecting with the biggest artists, but sometimes it's connecting with the light men, even the camera guys, even.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, you never know. And that's the thing, is that like, out here, like in this industry, we're like really out here for ourselves, at the end of the day. Like there's no one telling you have to do this, you have to go here, you have to do this today. So, like trying really just like using every opportunity and like staying open is like something that's become really important for us. And just, like you said, talking to everyone. Don't just like, oh, I need to I only want to work with the biggest guy. Like, no, getting there on the way is like meeting those people is just as important.
Yeah,
definitely. And like, that's another thing we've realized too, I would say, is that like, the product that you have, in our case, beats and, and demos and things like that, is obviously super important, and you want to have like good product to back up, for these times you meet these people and be able to send them stuff. But it's only like such a tiny portion. It's like a lot of it is being in the right place at the right time, is making these other connections where you can even have the opportunity to send these out, because you could be the most talented producer ever and not know anyone, and you're just going to have all these crazy beats just sitting on your computer,
right,
not going anywhere. And so, that's obviously a core part of it, is, having good, solid production, but without having any sort of opportunities or like a vessel to send these off and get them out and for people to hear, being connections and whatnot, nothing's going to happen.
Right. So as a producer, how do you know if you're actually in the industry or not? Like if you land one of your songs with like a big artist, does it automatically mean you're a producer in the industry?
That's what you think at first. Especially even like, you get a cut, like someone cuts something and you're like, oh, I made it, like especially like in the very beginning. But no, it's really about just like one thing there. Okay, there is that one song that will change your life. And we've seen it happen, like with people, and it does, but that's not how at least that's not how I try to operate. I'm not working just for that one song. Just keep going and making like the best possible stuff. And every day, as long as it continuously gets better, I've seen it. We've only really been without another job, I've really been doing this for 3 years and seeing it every day. Quality goes up, more people start working on it. You start meeting more people. So I think focusing on that, just that one big one is not it's not the best route, but once if you can land it, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Big win.
Wait, what was your guys' last jobs then? Like 9-to-5 jobs?
My last like legitimate job was I was working at I worked for a delivery company for a little bit, and then before that I was doing I worked for a commercial furniture company.
Oh.
Yeah. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, I that delivery company, I hired him. I was running the HR department at that company. That was my final job.
Speaking of connections.
There we go.
Yeah.
So you guys have always been friends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Way
Okay.
before any of the we've always enjoyed the same music, listened to hip hop, always had the same taste in everything, but we didn't, not until after college did we even really start, we had some certain maybe softwares on our laptops, but I never really dug in, it was just kind of there. I was like, oh, I could try this. It was
Right.
But then once we finished college and we were able to kind of work together in a studio environment, it was oh, okay, this is something that I would enjoy and like to do.
And did you go to college for music or something
No.
else? Oh.
No, for
Unrelated.
yeah, for business specialization, hospitality management actually is what I went to college
And has that helped you out at all? Or
Yeah, it's
Okay.
I mean, just having those, it's regular business type stuff, anything finance. I feel like it puts me ahead of the game than a lot of producers who just kind of go straight into producing, because I can understand a lot of the other side of things, and especially just like we were just talking about the jobs from before,
Mhm.
just having to keep a routine, having to keep a schedule, having to work the regular life and just handle things in a normal day, has helped talk to managers, has helped emailing with, in all these type of situations when it comes to the non-music side of things.
Right. And how do producers make money? Is how average producers make money the same way you guys make money, or is it through TV placements, or is it just selling beats, or?
So there's definitely a wide range of ways to make
Right.
money. I think
Got it.
for us the most profitable are usually either an advance or a producer fee once an artist records on a song and decides to release it.
Mhm.
And then as well, we'll always get publishing, which is your royalties, which is anytime a song is streamed or played somewhere, we get a small percentage, each time that's played.
Right.
And that's pretty common for producers. And then aside from that, we'll do other little opportunities. Like, for example, we do a lot of the music for Bruce Lee's Instagram, or his foundation at this point, his family.
Oh wow.
So that's another route, doing
Wait, how'd you get connected with Bruce Lee's foundation? You know Bruce Lee's from Seattle, or had spent some time in Seattle at least?
I actually did not know that he was
No, I
from
didn't.
or spent time in Seattle. We were working with an early artist that we had worked with.
Yeah. Family member was connected with them.
Yeah, I
believe,
think
Wow.
one of his family members was working for the foundation at the time, and just kind of was like, hey,
Same kind of thing.
yeah, would you guys want to send some stuff? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And never really thought anything about it, but a couple months later they got back to us and were like, hey, we'd like the stuff. And so they ended up putting it in their Instagram posts and whatnot. And that was, I think, in 2015 or 2016. So we've basically been doing that on the side since. And then in addition to that, when songs do come out, there are opportunities like the Euphoria thing you were mentioning, where a song will get picked up for a television show or movie or whatnot. So those are other ways to get paid. And
people do beat stores and stuff, online beat sales, and I see that works for a lot of producers. We've put our stuff on websites like BeatStars and some of the other websites where people sell their stuff like that for leases and just to more random artists. We haven't even really dug too deep into that world, but if it's something that's something that requires a whole nother level of promo and YouTube and stuff like that, we have the channels, but we wouldn't use that as our main thing. Like he said, locking in with artists, getting placements, advances, percentages of the publishing and master is definitely the way that we go about it, but that's not to say it's the only way.
Got it. And I just looked it up. Bruce Lee and Brandon Lee are both buried in Seattle. I completely forgot. I think Bruce Lee went to UW or something. I could be completely wrong.
Oh wow.
But it's crazy they're buried here in Seattle. You got to stop by and
Wow.
see.
Yeah, we
absolutely.
gotta pay our
Pay
respects for sure.
So do you guys have any are you guys going to be dropping like a project at all? Like as a Holy Beats project? I don't feel like you guys don't have any projects out, do you?
No, not as like like Holy Beats, but we've definitely thought about it, especially with certain artists who we've locked in with. We haven't actually gone forth and done that yet, but it's definitely something we'd be interested in doing.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And how'd you guys make the Azizi Gibson connection, by the way?
You want to tell?
Yeah, we had met. We were working at a studio at the time, and it was in this big building, and in the building there's probably 15 to 12 different studios. The room we were working out of, his engineer worked right next to us, and we just kind of
Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence.
I love Lawrence. Lawrence is my guy.
Great guy.
Shout out Lawrence. He's
I
the
think
man.
he just got engaged too. So shout out to Lawrence.
Yes.
Congrats, Lawrence.
But yeah, we just kind of befriended him, just from being in the same spot all the time, and and then after a while, we never really pushed that on him at all. He knew what we did, and one day he was like, hey, Azizi's looking for some beats, like I'd love to send you guys, or send some of your guys' stuff to him. And we were super appreciative of that. We had at the time that was probably
one of the first first times we ever like had someone be like, hey, I'm gonna send your beats to this artist. So that was really cool.
And just from there, he ended up cutting to a couple of them, and we had kind of briefly met him not in that context. Just I think one day he came over
asked for a lighter or something. Yeah. But very definitely not. It was just like how it is in these studio things where there's multiple rooms. Everyone kind of says hi in the hallways and stuff. But yeah, until then it was just it was very casual relationship.
Definitely. And then just time passed, and he liked what we were doing, and we made some cool stuff together. And then eventually we Lawrence set up some actual in-person sessions for us, and we got to make some stuff in person, and so that's just how
the rest is history.
Yeah.
And did you guys know of his music before working with him, or?
We did. Actually, definitely. I like Smoking with the Gods and all those classics. Like I remember a couple of my friends back in the day showing me those songs, and then when I heard his name in the studio, I was like, oh, he's Nexus. I know who that guy is, and yeah. So I've been a fan of him for a while, so it was really cool to work with him. It still is great to work with him.
And how many songs do you guys have with him now?
I think somewhere around 12 or 15. I don't know the exact number.
Yeah, something like that.
Somewhere in that range.
And he's had a AK on some of those songs too, which is pretty dope.
Yeah. That was a couple of them, right?
Yeah,
too?
I think he's on 2 of ours for sure. Yeah. And that's also someone that I know that we both listen to under
we both
Underachievers. So that was another cool experience. Prior to us getting into music, being able to work with people that we actually listened to before was really cool experience.
Yeah. So definitely. When you're working with artists, is it important for you guys to lock in with them, or are you just sending them the beats usually, or how does that work when you're working with artists?
It's totally different with different artists. It's not, I wouldn't say it's important to lock in with them for us. I would prefer to, if it's somebody who I'm like, I like their music, I hear their sound, I want to really try to produce it. But then there's also situations and opportunities where working with artists that are not even in the same state as you, and I wouldn't want to give up an opportunity to work with somebody. So we're very much on both sides. Send out beats, put us in a session, whatever is gonna get to the end, and get us a cool record with a cool artist. Then we're there for it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some artists work differently too. Some excuse me. Some might like to just record alone. So, getting them a beat pack is probably the best move.
Right.
Whereas some of them, like to just create in person. So being in person with them is the move. So it depends.
Very situational.
And do you guys tap into the different producers in LA, or you guys kind of stick to your guys' selves, or is it important to be part of the LA music scene?
We work with, a lot of our friends, fortunately, are also producers. So, obviously we do get introduced to people that we don't know. and try to work with them because you never know what could happen. But fortunately, like a lot of our friends, that we like to work with are also producers, and it makes it easy.
Do you guys know Nug Life by any chance?
Nug Life?
No,
I don't believe so.
You gotta check out Nug Life. Nug Life's dope. He's had AK on a few songs, Rome Street, Spell the Wonder, Dizzy Wright.
Okay,
cool.
He's dope as fuck.
Yeah. Definitely check him out.
Yeah, it's from like L.A. and San Francisco. He like travels between the two places.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate the recommendation.
Hell yeah. So how'd you guys even come up with like Holy Beats as a title?
We were just like thinking of names.
Yeah.
We were listing off a ton of names, I remember at the time. And then we didn't even think about that it would have any sort of like religious connotation, which it doesn't.
Yes.
But we get that a lot. But we were just like, oh, like, I don't know, these good beats that like holy, I don't know, it's cool. Like, but we it's funny. We'll like get people like on the Instagram, thinking that even on some of the Bruce Lee stuff, and like, they're like, very religious stuff, and it's like, hey, like we respect everyone's views, but this is not specifically a religious thing.
Yeah, if you look up Holy Beats on YouTube, it comes with like sermons and stuff. I'm like,
didn't really quite think that one all the way through, but yeah.
No, definitely. Yeah, we do have a YouTube page, and that's good to know that it's not the first thing that comes up.
Oh man.
But yeah, we'll have to put up some sermons.
So Sunday service with Holy Beats.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see you guys like remixing like the Halo theme song though.
That'd be epic.
So how'd you come up with the tagline, the Holy, or who can do it the best?
That's honestly, it's a friend of ours.
It's our buddy John Bangs.
Yeah. We originally had like we knew we wanted a beat tag, and we originally got like one of those. I think it might be on some of the early Azizi songs, but our first beat tag was like one of those
Fiverr.
Yeah, you pay like $5 and have this British woman, from who knows where, I don't know, just on the internet somewhere.
Yeah.
Recorded like a random beat tag for us, and it's Holy Beats.
Yep.
And so at the time we were like, oh, this is cool. Like we
didn't know.
Yeah. And then as time went on, like we didn't, it's not always easy to come up with a beat tag. It's a lot of the times like, like I know his personal one, for example, is another artist that he worked with. And those are usually the best ones that come about. Like most of the big producer tags that you can think of, like, Metro Boomin or Murder Beats, like those are all just artists, for the most part.
And they say something cool and they're like, oh, I want to use this as my tag. That's the natural way is much cooler.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird sometimes. You can kind of tell when it's forced.
There's some tags out there that are, and also some that are very long, which is like, I feel like, especially if you're working with multiple producers, that can get a little crazy.
For sure. So ours being like just nice and short and easy and kind of, breathy, and it's not harsh. Like there's definitely plenty of artists that are that might not want certain tags on beats because they sound so
abrasive.
Yeah, or they're too long or whatnot. But no one's ever asked us to take ours off, which is I think a good sign, because it's just very simple and can kind of you notice it, but it kind of blends into the background. So it
could be a part of the beat too. Yeah, that was just our friend. I think if I remember correctly, he just said it. Like he was just like he was just in the booth recording a song, and he was just like, "Holy!" We're like, "Oh wow, okay, wait, like that's perfect."
Yeah, you never know how you're gonna come up with those, and shout out to John Banks.
Yeah,
there's some pretty funny ones. I don't even know when like producer tags became a thing. They weren't around in the '90s, were they?
Not that I remember. I think like
in the Gucci Mane era, like the early like the Zaytovens and
Just
like I feel
Blaze,
like that's like when
too.
Just
Blaze
would be like a pretty early.
Yeah,
that'd be an early tag.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I feel like producers maybe started getting more credit, and like, being a producer
became like a thing that people wanted to be a producer and have a name as a producer, which
you weren't just some faceless person. Like you also had your brand too. Yeah. So like I think it was part of that, branding as well.
Right.
And then tell me, which one of you guys has like the Play Machine
Oh, well,
band?
that's me and a couple of my buddies worked on some songs together for that Latin artist that we had mentioned. That was my friend
Oh,
Sweet Sound and my other friend Bluey. That's us three together when we produce stuff. Just like we were just talking about tags, like us, me, Bluey, and Sweet Sound all have our own tags, and we're like, this is gonna be a lot to put on these records, so let's just like throw like a name on this, and we just like made it like a little click.
I feel that.
Yeah,
Things you find on social media, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
who,
you did your research. You
yeah, I tried. So who are some artists that like who are your like dream artists you guys each have want to work with? Let's each name like 3 different people.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, obviously, like, really big artists like, the Drakes.
For me, I'd say Future is a must,
Okay.
absolute must.
I can
work
see that.
with. Casey Musgraves,
Okay.
need it.
That'd be fire.
That would be really crazy. And let's see. I'd say Justin Bieber.
Okay.
Pretty
Yeah.
epic.
I'm shooting for the stars here.
Yeah. There you go. I think Justin Bieber's church, I think it's here in the Seattle area as well. Like
Oh, yeah?
a lot
Oh,
of cool artists actually come down to Seattle all the time. Sometimes it's like low key and no one even knows, but like Justin Bieber is like Bigfoot. You'll see him around Seattle every once in a while.
That's cool. I mean, before I made music, I always had, like a specific opinion about like, like, oh, I was always like, I didn't really listen to his music. I would just see people like, oh yeah, like that. These people are obsessed with this guy.
Yeah.
And then like once you become a musician and you're like, damn, like that guy's voice is crazy. He doesn't have to use any auto tune. Like you can appreciate different things about stuff,
Yeah. Do you guys have any crazy like celebrity encounters living in LA, you know?
I mean, definitely like outside of music for sure. It's kind of growing up. I remember seeing Paris Hilton at Chipotle, for example. But like there's that kind of stuff happens all the time. But as in the music world, we've definitely like for example that old studio that we used to work at, we used to run into a ton of big artists that we weren't working with. We were still pretty early on, but it was just cool to see.
Yeah.
Trying to think like YG.
Yeah.
I remember seeing him, Rory, forget who else, but it's in those kind of environments, it's easy to just run into.
Yeah,
people
just like
that.
with the same kind of thing with those studio complex situations.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen like Kanye West or Kim Kardashian in the wild?
I don't think so. I saw Kylie Jenner at CVS once.
Oh, she's just like us. She goes to CVS.
Yeah, exactly.
Crazy that I didn't say Kanye West for people to like need to work with. You can't get put on the spot with those questions. You never say the right answer.
Especially, I could see you guys working with like Vori. Dude, Vori was like the MVP of Donda, you know?
Yeah,
No,
Vori's cool. He's
incredibly
really
talented.
Cool.
Didn't he
Definitely love
big
his
fans.
voice. Yeah.
He just got signed to Dream Chasers, right?
Yeah,
I believe
it's
so.
with Meek now, I think. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's very dope.
Craziness. So what's next for you guys? You guys got anything up and coming out? I know you guys just what was that thing that Azizi just dropped? It's not an album, it's a playlist or something.
Right. Yeah, he did. He just kind of took a lot of the stuff from this year because he dropped a whole ton of singles.
Yeah.
Put it all in one place for people to listen to, and he's definitely on the brink of dropping his next project. I saw he was posting something about it. That's excited for that one too.
Yeah, I think that's probably the next thing we have coming out.
Next thing. And some other cool stuff in the works. Just don't always like to talk about it before everything's settled. But yeah,
that's definitely something I feel like we've learned also over the years, and like just kind of having more experience is that like we've had been lucky enough to have a lot of big artists cut on beats of ours, but they don't always come out.
Yeah.
So that's something that's just personally cool to us and makes us feel good. Like, okay, we know we have like a good enough product for these artists, but it's not something that we really want to publicize, because if it doesn't come out, like, who cares? It's cool to us, but like,
right.
Nobody wants to be in that position of like, oh, I thought you said that you had this song coming out.
It almost becomes a thing where I feel like I've jinxed it in the past.
Dude, I feel that so much.
Like, you know what? Like, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, we got this cool stuff coming up.
Yeah. So with a lot of creative industries, but music for sure, it's like we've just kind of learned like nothing happens until it happens. Like you don't have a song with someone until it actually comes out.
Yeah.
And so, we're excited about things. We don't get our hopes up or expect anything to come out. I think that's, probably something that younger producers or like newer producers kind of can fall into, and can kind of drain you because you have these high hopes, and then you're like, oh wait, it didn't come out. Like, did I do something wrong? Or
you got to get crushed a couple times.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's part of it.
Yeah, you need to be told no a lot. I know there were plenty of stages in our career earlier on where we were like, we've got the product, like we know we're doing, the beats we're making are really crazy, and we got told no a lot. And like, it doesn't mean that they weren't good, but it made us, we still felt good about them, but it made us go back and like,
and then listening to it now, it's like, what, maybe those weren't ready for the level that we thought they were, you know, but like, you don't know in the moment because it's the best thing you've ever made.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dude, I feel that so much with like interviews. Like either it's like a specific artist will say yes, or I've done the interview, and then like a manager will be like, actually, let's hold off on putting this out. I'm like, fuck.
Right.
So what's some advice that you guys each have for up and coming artists, creators, influencers?
Let's see.
I mean, for sure, I think going back to kind of bringing this full circle, connections are super important. And like, you might be really confident in the beats you're making or the things you're writing, but the chances of them going anywhere without getting out in the world and actually meeting people or connecting with people, the chances of anything happening with them are pretty low. So try to meet as many people as you can. Try not to say no to sessions, even if it's not somebody or you whatnot, because if then you've made that connection, and that also opens you up to all of their connections too, that they might be like, oh, I have this artist I'm working with, we could make something for them.
Right. And also I get like DMs just to like the kind of the question that you're asking, and something that I always say is just like, really make sure that this is what you want to do. I feel like a lot of people have this like very like kind of like sparkly image of what it is, and it is like we do what we love, but like it takes like you have to want to do this so bad, so much more than everyone else who wants to do it, and a lot of these other people will be working into hours when you would want to be sleeping and just stuff like that. Like if it wasn't something that I love to do, I would be it's like go ahead, try something else. You have to really love yourself and dedicate your life to this. That would be what I would say.
Yeah, because it's not like a normal 9-to-5 job where you're guaranteed certain things.
There's no hours. It's just
you're.
It's just like
you're working as much as you want to, or which is good and bad. But you don't have anything guaranteed, so you really need to put your all into.
I always say you're the last line of defense. Like you yourself are the last line of defense out here. So like make sure that like if you decide to sleep and you decide to not do something, then like that's on you in the end of the day. And like I know that like for me at least, when I'm putting it all in and doing it more than I even want to, is when stuff is happening. And when I'm not all the way in, I don't see the same sort of results.
Yeah. Oh, also one last thing actually for like up and coming producers, are you guys part of a record label? And if you are, is there any advice to get part of one? Or if you're independent, is there some advice for being an independent producer?
We are independent. And I mean, it just there's a lot of things you have to do. You're not just a producer at that point. You're kind of marketing yourself. You're your manager. You gotta be responding to business emails, or or making sure you get paid, and making sure that the songs that come out are registered properly. And so you can't just expect to only do production. That's just like one part of the job. There's a lot of other things that it encompasses. So
and if you want to go the route of like getting some sort of production deal or publishing deal, that's always a good way to go. You're going to be giving up a large percentage of like your actual like what you're getting off the song, but you're going to be given a lot more opportunities. You could catch like a cool advance, get some money. It really is situational. Like for me, that doesn't feel like what I'd want at this point, but So it's there's so many ways to go about this. I feel like there's no like right way to be a producer, but I think that at least for me, like if I was going to doing it independently is great, but the one thing I would say that you definitely need to have is a lawyer, no matter what. Like if you want to do that, like management is something that can be very helpful. A label, a publishing deal, all that stuff can be great, but you need somebody to look over your contracts and make sure that everything is right, because people are really, it gets crazy out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And even in our position, we've looked over a lot of them at this point, and we'll know kind of the general layout of things, or like what certain terms mean. But even then, there's still things that that just doesn't make sense to someone that has not studied law.
Right.
Layman terms.
Exactly.
So that's super, super important for new producers, because they'll definitely get offered like a lot of things that people, they can get taken advantage of.
Because the thing is, there's like a standard contract that like gets sent, and then it's your job to give it to a lawyer or take it into your own hands and negotiate. But they're it's just how most business works. They're going to try to get the best deal on their end, and then you have to negotiate what's good for yourself. So yeah, legal, very important.
Right.
Yeah, definitely worth it.
And what is the easiest way for people to reach you guys?
We're on Instagram,
Twitter.
Twitter. Those are probably our two most active social media accounts. Yeah, platforms. And I believe on Instagram I think we're holy_beats, and on Twitter I think we're it's holy beats. So either DMing us, you can send us an email at itsholybeats@gmail. And
he's gonna give you his personal phone number as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And your credit card, social security number.
Yeah, while we're out here, let me grab my wallet.
My CVV code on the back of my card is
123.
No, yeah, exactly. 123 Fake Street is what I live on. But yeah, so any of those, we respond to our DMs, and always checking that, because you never know who's gonna message you.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. I end the podcast by saying this is the NAST podcast, and you guys say your name. So, this is the NAST podcast with
Holy Beats.
And we did it.